Estolian tradition, destiny ordained, in one's benediction, Bendelora proclaimed. Sidestepping destiny, rebellious positions.
My father explained to me when I asked why there was such a blatantly sexist double standard in Estolia. Deity set the conditions of our great prosperity, and we are constrained to follow the promises that Zacharias made. In the face of all the blessings which we receive daily from deity, we must believe in all Zacharias wrote. As such, women are asked to hold their bodies pure and aloof from the base lusts of men. Men, as the gender less capable of that level of self-control, are given the constraint to seek a woman who is pure when they are 30, and to avoid that same purity prior to their 30th year. It is not perfect, but from my reading of the ensayos, it seems to me as if the daughters of Estoliana once wed do not feel as if the dichotomy is onerous or unfair. Gregorio Mortimer, Zacharian, Elder Essay.
Halloween County, California, 1992.
Dominic scrolled back to the beginning of the page he just completed, trying to evaluate his writing with an unbiased eye. As usual, during the creation phase, it felt as if he was creating prose that was perfectly worded. But when he read it, he could tell that there were problems that would need to be corrected. He read it again.
For the other, a contradiction. Deity can see the
Brother, Lunda ran over to where Isol lay face down, halfway in the surf, flinging himself to the packed wet sand. He rolled his brother over onto his side and then pounded his mid-back. A spluttering cry accompanied a protest. Not so hard, Lunda. His brother coughed up some seawater before flopping to his back on the sand. The tide comes in, Isol, Lunda told his brother. Can you rise? One lid opened and gazed blurrily at him. Yes. He coughed a couple more times and then wearily rose to his knees and then his feet, only to be almost knocked down again by the inrushing tide. The two brothers staggered up the beach away from the waves before stopping, exhausted. Where are we? Isol asked. Lunda looked around and then shrugged at his brother. The anchorman foundered. We are alive, and no longer conscripts. This is what I know. Isol followed his brother above the high tide mark and then grinned weakly as he glanced down at both himself and his brother. We are also naked, brother. We will be in trouble if others see us exposed like this. It is a good thing, then, that I am an humble fisherman, and have seen more than one naked youth in my time. The grumbly sound of a voice speaking the language of Palmyra spoke from a short distance away. The two boys looked towards where the voice emanated and saw a man not unlike their father in age and stature. Dominic frowned. It was the penultimate paragraph that had some kind of flaw. He could not function without an assistant to help him proofread and correct his writing. He rubbed his eyes, feeling the strain of working for a solid hour without a break. He saved the file and then closed his PowerBook portable computer. He patted it fondly, pleased with his new technology, as well as his newest novel set in the era when the Mediterranean Sea was called Centrath in Estolia. He picked up his copy of the Words of Zacharias, the only capitulo without a number attached to it, and ran his forefinger over the Estolian script describing the events leading up to Zacharias saving Estoliana. Dominic's current novel flickered into life when he read the part where Zacharias expressed the gratitude he felt when the captain of the Anchorman spared the twin sons of a pirate. Once he had the spark of inspiration, he spent several days jotting down the storyline that came to him. A week later he was visiting his brother in Estolia and he had enthusiastically explained his newest story idea.
But everyone from the Anchorman died.
Gregorio pointed out. Dominic asked.
How many times do the records speak of individuals washed up on Estolia's shores, given up as dead by their relatives, only to be saved? Is it inconceivable that some of the crew from the Anchorman somehow washed up on the shores of Palmyra?
They had debated his latest premise before Gregorio had the final word.
I am certain, Dom, that I shall enjoy your newest novel as much as all of your others, whether or not it could have happened.
Dominic closed his copy of the Words of Zacharias, and carefully put it back on the glass-enclosed shelf. His thoughts turned away from his brother and his newest story, and moved on to the new assistant he had hired. He should have tried to find a male assistant to help him. That was the only way to be sure he would reach his goal of lifelong celibacy. But this applicant had excellent qualifications and seemed like she would work out better than his prior assistant. He had called her former employer to check on her references. The woman told him,
Jasmine is one of the most dedicated workers I've ever had. She notices little details that everyone else misses. She could find errors the author and our own editing team have missed.
Why are you letting her go then?
He asked. If she was that good, then there had to be a reason they were actively trying to find her a new job. The raspy voice of the publisher was very matter-of-fact.
The position Jasmine fills has a salary schedule, and the corporate offices are unyielding when it comes to paying above it. In Silicon Valley, technology jobs pay so well that the cost of housing and living have both been skyrocketing. Her rent has increased significantly 3 times in the last couple of years, and she can't afford to continue to pay it on the salary we offer. I tried to come up with other solutions for her, but in her situation, it was clear she would not be able to remain in our employ. I'll hate losing her, but at least I can make sure she finds a good job.
Is there anything else I need to know about her?
She's a loner, doesn't socialize much, wants to write her own books someday. She has no close family and spends her free time reading and writing.
The woman paused before saying bluntly,
Mr. Zakarian, you would be a fool to not hire her for the job you described to me. She would be a great asset for you.
He had asked a few more questions, and then decided that she was everything he needed. Above all other things, he could use a competent assistant to help him, especially one who was skilled with personal computers. He would pick her up himself, he decided. He learned during their phone interview that she had to move immediately, so he would not have time to prepare a new guest suite for her. After Diana's attempts to seduce him, he had planned to house his newest assistant further from his own bedroom suite, but he could always have her change bedrooms once another was prepared.
Sidestepping destiny, rebellious positions.